Captain tupigie risto.
Mabron Jace. Yeah. Wacha ni washow vile msupa alinituma vitungu sokoni. Yaja? Nilikuwa naenda kulamba bet juu ya game moja. Nikauliza, yani naweza lamba bet juu ya game moja? Alafu madhawa vitungu akadai, jameni su kesho kuna betika. Nikamuuliza, naweza jitoa tu? Mzee mkoko akatokea akadai, ni mara ngapi ndakushow? Na betika unaweza cash out na withdraw bila charges.
Ala? Eti cash out na no withdrawal charges?
Kabisa. Ukibetika, unapata mo. Pata mo na betika.
Hii story imeletwa kwako na Betika, the official sponsors of happiness. Gambling can be addictive. Play responsibly. Not for persons under 18 years of age. This advert is authorized and regulated by the Betting Control and Licensing Board. License number BK281. Betika, jukwaa la mabingwa.
Hi everyone, this is Radull Live. My name is Radull. Thanks for joining us. And I'm so excited about today's show simply because I am finally meeting, you're a sporting icon. I'm finally, and you'll know why by the end of this hour, I'm finally meeting Mariam Mpaata. I think this interview is so long overdue. Marion, how has it taken us this long to actually sit in a room?
Imagine.
Shame on us.
Shame on us.
But at least we talk on phone and WhatsApp and everywhere else.
That's a good thing about technology.
Now, before we even get started, I need to read a few, because we didn't even know what title to put for you. Let me put some awards and recognitions. Top 100 most influential Muslims in Kenya, that was 2019. Sportswoman of the Year by the Coast Women magazine, 2019. Nominated for Africa's most influential women by CEO Group of South Africa, 2019. Cover page for Coast Women magazine, 2019. Sports personality, Mombasa County, 2018. Listed amongst excelling women in Africa by Leading Ladies Africa in 2017.
There are many.
Named among the 34 most talented Kenyan women by Lionesses of Africa. Top 30 under 40 Muslim women in Kenya by Chase Bank. And the list goes on and the list goes on and the list goes on because Mariam has done so much for football in this country and people don't even know it. Well, us in the industry do. Many people need to find out. But Mariam, before we even get into your book, Boots Don't Lie, because I want to delve into this book. Tell me how you got started. Where did your passion for football come from?
For sure. First of all, I want to say thank you. And, it has been long overdue. Like you're saying, I've also been admiring you from down at the coast. And, you've been doing a wonderful job.
I try.
So you're my inspiration as well. So, but how I began, Carol, it's just one of those things that still also blows my mind off because there I was, I'd moved to Mombasa with my family. I had one child, Imran, he was about 2.5, and I was very idle because I just finished university and my husband had a job and, I was just following the guy in his nursery school, wherever he goes. I was, pick, drop, activities.
You're being a mom.
Yes, I was just being a mom.
Which is not an easy job.
Which is not easy, in a new country because we just moved from Uganda. So, but then I had this, urge to find a job like any other fresh graduate, So I kept knocking at doors and all they could ask me was, you need a work permit, number one, you need experience. I had none of those. And so I found myself a housewife proper for 7 good years. Scrubbing toilets, I knew every little corner of my house.
You can't keep still.
I couldn't. I could scrub every little corner of my house But then along the way, my son, I realized he loved football. So would play with him outside, play with him, and he loved, of course, he's a Man U fan, so he was always watching games with
Poor
the father. Poor guy. But at least the father is Arsenal. You can be assured there's Arsenal in the house. So he was, they were having this, competitions, and I was like, guys, I just want to watch movies. Can you maybe buy me another television to sort this mess out?
Yes.
But of course, we just let it pass. But then one day, this guy, he kicked the ball over a fence that was demarcating our house and the neighbors. And it went straight to the Mercedes-Benz and crashed the windscreen.
Oops.
Yes. And I was in the kitchen cooking, and I had my neighbor, oh, Imran. I was like, okay, what's happened? So we go there to see, and we find that indeed there was this huge crack on the windscreen. And my neighbor loved that Benz. It was an old model, but she was just in love with it. So I could see the pain. And then, of course, we sat down and decided you have to pay for this damage. And we looked for the money. It was about 60,000 back then. That is like 13 years ago.
What?
Yes. I remember my husband had to get a salary advance to pay for that damage.
No.
Because, at short notice,
Yeah.
that was really something else. So we got the money and paid for the windscreen. We stayed friends with our neighbor, and, and would still play and all that. But then, because back of the mind, I was like, this guy is actually going to do it again. And where are we going to get the money? Because he would sleep with his ball, wake up with his ball, play every time, hit the TV, and there. So I just knew the damage is going to continue.
Yeah, what can I do?
What can I do? So I said, let me look for a football academy for him so that he can train. So I found one, but it was in Shanzu. It was being managed by a gentleman called Ricky Solomon and Coach Harry.
Ah, yes.
So we drive all the way from town to
Shanzu, that's far.
That's far. So we reached there, and their kids, they were in this school called Braeburn. So they were training kids there. So my son joined, played. He was now about 8. So he played and liked it, but then we sat there for like 3 hours. Then when we went back home, we were like, how are we going to be going back every 3 hours?
Every day, yeah.
Wait for 3 hours, then still come back. So on the way we decided, Apana, we are not going to go back into this. I think let the guy just play here. My husband was like, you know what, play with him outside. So I didn't play, kick the ball outside.
Watch him, basically.
Yes, just keep watching him. So that was an extra load to my other housewife duties. So I was like, hey, I'm done. When will I cook? When will I do all these things? So anyway, in the middle of that, I discovered that, not discovered, but I think Kenya went into the post-election violence. So we drove back home with my family. We went to Uganda, of course, for safety purposes, because everybody wasn't sure what was going to happen, So we went back home, and we were watching, news feeds from the telly at home, and we were worried, of course. But then while I was there, I visited some football academies, because I realized in Uganda, there might be some that are really doing well. So we went, visited, and I discovered these guys in Uganda actually having more organized
academies,
more organized spaces, and I was like, wow, okay, I think someone should start something like this in Mombasa, Little did I know I was
Who's the someone?
The someone would be me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I never thought I would, really, never, because growing up I detested sports. I was one of those kids, Carol, who used to forge notes, medical notes, pretend my knees are paining my legs, just so that I don't run.
Break everything.
Nothing. And I got away with it somehow.
So to fast forward, you started an academy for boys in Mombasa.
Yes.
Tell me about the academy. It's for boys, it's for girls.
It's for...
How did you get off the ground? And then tell me how at some point you realized, you know what? This is what I want to do, and I need to educate myself.
I think when I started, I thought I was just going to be with it maybe for maybe 6 months, 7 months. I really didn't think I would be this far, because I was a graduate, and when I started, it was all about sitting under a tree. So I found this football field, hired it. My husband gave me capital to start, because we needed to pay the field, we needed to pay the coaches. So we hired one coach, paid the field for 6 months, looked for kids, We got kids from Tononoka, from the surrounding slums, because we realized also even if we are going to charge a fee for these kids, on that day I might find myself alone with my son on the field.
Yeah.
So I said, look here, let's find other kids who love to play football.
Yeah.
So we had a mixture of both. So I sat on the first day, I'm sitting there under a tree and I'm thinking, wow, this is certainly not going to be me. How?
Not long time.
Not long time, really. People who have degrees don't sit under trees and watch
Watch kids play
watch
all
kids
day.
play all day, you know. So there I was. You know, kids were playing. We had these huge size balls, size 5, because we didn't even know.
That there are different sizes
The
of balls
different
for
sizes.
kids.
I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Even the coaches who I had, they didn't know because it was their first time training young people.
So it was very amateur at that
Yes,
point, yeah.
yes. Everybody was doing this thing for the first time. And so we started, and surprisingly, it was fun because having a background of, I also had done a counseling degree, higher diploma. So I had this, you know, this niche with kids. So somehow I started enjoying myself because kids would come crying and I counsel them, you know, to try to keep them calm. And then some maybe would come in and say, oh, Coach, they started calling me Coach Mariam. Coach Mariam, hatujakula chakula. And I'll be like, okay, let me go buy mahamri. Yeah, so
because
suddenly,
football is not just about kicking the ball.
Exactly, you know, there's all this psychological aspect about it. And that's where I found my space, because for me, I was connecting with young people and what they love most and their emotions. And I was just in that happy space, and I was like, okay, maybe I could just...
And you became a fan!
You know, I could just be there and, you know, hang in there, and I'm enjoying this for some time until I find a job. So the job kept, you know, but with time I realized, what I realized is that because of now the post-election violence, I realized the space was actually much more than just the football, because we had kids from all sorts of tribes, yeah? And then also now, because we had Ugandans there, my son was Ugandan, we had other Ugandans who are, because they know Mariam is Ugandan, they also would come. So we had a whole,
there, yeah.
So we had a whole mixture of different people from different backgrounds. And then I started looking at it, oh my God, we are actually creating.
You're onto something.
Yes, we are, you know, we are part of the reconciliation process. This is not just...
It's healing.
Yes, it's not just football, you know. So I started reading more about what to do, how to make it even better, how to create impact. And then with time, we started seeing the results on the field. So for example, we had kids who were sponsored. When they would come in, they would not be laughing, Carol, because some of them have slept hungry. Maybe their mothers have been beaten. There is no school fees. They have walked all the way from, let's say, Tononoka, Kisauni, to where we're training from. So they had all these issues that would not permit them to be children. But these other kids from these other families, oh my God, the stories they would tell, the way they had dressed up, they were so different. So now we started...
So you had kids from all walks of
life.
All
walks of life. So what happened now is, because I had this counseling background, I started talking to my coaches. I told them, look here, these kids are the same. Yeah, for me, there is no difference. So I expect you also treat them the same way. We started encouraging these other ones who had more jerseys, more shoes to share, you know. So all the kids eventually were all dressing the same. Imagine a kid from Taani wearing a shoe, a Puma shoe or a Nike for the first time. Yeah, there was this little boy who came to me and said, after we had given him a pair of boots, and he said, Mariam, Coach Mariam, hii kiatu imetulia. Metulia kweli. I've never forgotten that young man. He was all about running, excited, you know. So eventually these kids started to talk. They started to speak English, because these others are speaking English. They started to bang stories. You know, it was just so magical watching them.
I was just going to say, that must be so amazing to watch. And the beauty about football, especially the uniform, is you become the same.
You become the same, exactly. So it was just magical for sure. And I thought to myself, if I'm going to do anything, I want to do this forever. Because for me, that was where my joy came most from. Because growing up and not having a father, and being able to be supported along the way meant so much for me. So I was looking at these kids, and I knew that just even being able to say, here is some little money for lunch, it meant so much for them. here is a new pair of shoes. It meant so much, you know. So for me, that is how I discovered that I was onto something and I need to take it more seriously.
So you never found the job you were looking for,
No.
but you created the dream job for yourself
I
without
created
even
the
knowing
dream
it.
job, of course minus salary, but for a long time.
Sometimes it's not always about the money, especially when you're
yes.
starting.
And trust me, I struggled with that as well, because when we are all growing up, we think about a job that gives you money.
Yeah, it's about paying
Yes,
bills.
because you have needs. You want to help your mother back home. You want to help your people.
And you have wants.
Yes,
as
you
well.
know, exactly. So for me, I also struggled with it as a woman, because I would be like, wow, for how long will I be doing this? Give, and I never receive. And for how long will I have to decide? For example, if I had 10,000 shillings that a parent has paid, and my mother is calling me, asking me for money, and I have fees to pay for another child, or maybe to pay for the office, or to pay a coach, or the grounds, or you know, whatever, all these little things that I would have to decide this. I would have to decide the academy. I would have to decide that over my mother. And for a long time I struggled. I was like, wow, you know, for how long does this go on? But then I think as with age, I realized, you know what, I have a roof over my head, thanks to my husband. I don't pay rent. I don't pay school fees. Those were just advantages that came.
And clearly, this is a calling.
Yeah, and it was a calling. So, of course, if you don't have support, then it's
hard to honor that calling.
It is very hard to honor the calling, you know, because you'll be like, how will I pay rent?
Yeah.
You know, so you
How
have
will I
to
pay school fees for this boy of mine who has to finish school?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, so at the end of the day, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes.
How have you progressed over the years to where you are now and bring in the value you felt because you went and educated yourself on sports? You did sports management.
Yes.
Yeah. At what point did you think I need to professionalize this because it's also a missing link?
Yes.
Because Kenya, we have so many academies here.
Yes.
But you'll find it's someone who just finished school and started an academy.
Yes. Yes.
But you felt it important
Yes.
that if I'm going to make this academy and this program
Yes.
meaningful,
Yes.
I need to get knowledge.
Yes. That happened to me after 10 years. 10 years. I was stuck in there, you know, making losses and making bad decisions and, you know, hanging in there. But I knew I just couldn't continue like this because I could see that, one, it was taking a toll on my own family. Number two, I could see that I was not making right decisions within the organization, you know. So I kept telling myself, I need to change something. Either I quit or I do something that is going to empower me to the level that I can be a better leader, you know, a better manager, a better woman, you know. So I sat down, I started thinking, what is the solution? Yeah. Do I start? Someone said, no, you start a business. Because majorly, one of my biggest problems was financial, you know. So someone said, no, you start an equipment shop for sports, you know, and then there you can make money, and then you can run your programs.
I've heard those things.
You know, you've heard, you know.
But that also needs your time and effort.
It also needs time and effort. A lot of it, actually, because now if you're managing money, you better be serious about it. It's not that easy.
Yeah.
You know? Otherwise, you now find yourself bankrupt, you know. So I was like, business? I'm not a business person. I might end up giving out all the balls for free, you know, and all the jerseys, and I'm done, you know. So that wasn't a thing for me. So I started thinking, then I realized I need to be educated. You know, I need skills. I need new skills because football also was evolving. It's not 10 years ago.
Constantly evolving.
10 years ago, 13 years ago, because now it's 13 to 14 years ago, I was the first woman to start a football academy in Mombasa, or if not Kenya, because at that time, really, there were not many. Yeah. So, but imagine 10 years have passed. Things have happened. Women have educated themselves. Women have done things. All ceilings are being broken left, right, and center. So I think it would be. And
they're still here, Juakali.
And me, I was still there, Juakali. I was the driver. Yeah, I was multitasking on another level, Carol. I was the driver. I washed the bibs. Yeah. Wow. And because I'm chap, when I say, let's do this, and someone is still moving,
you go in and do it yourself.
So I was doing almost everything. If the driver is not coming in early, I've already zoomed off. You find me at the field. The judges need to, you haven't started, move. I wash the bibs. The accounts need to be, checked.
In order.
Yes. Kids need to be dressed properly, What I was just
grounds need to be paid.
I'm the marketing.
Coaches.
I'm the marketing manager. I'm the spokesman. It was just crazy, So anyway, so I realized that education would be probably the best thing for me to do. And indeed, I think I didn't make that mistake, because I started seeing things so differently. Because in the course that we're doing sports management, I learned what it means to manage even a sports institution. And even to, most importantly, the solutions to some of our problems in Africa. Because one of the mindsets we have is that we need to go to Europe. We need to go to, all these continents.
It seems to always be everyone's end game.
Exactly. That's where they have better, of course they have better football. We are not denying that. But that's where the opportunities are. That's where everything is. So we all need to go there to change our lives.
But why can't we create it?
Exactly. Why can't we invest in our own, countries? Why can't we do it? What is the problem? So one of the things that was mind-blowing for me was the realization that we need to set up centers, education centers for young people, especially. Carol, I have witnessed so many young, passionate boys and girls who are not gifted in academics, but are gifted on the pitch, and other skills. But they end up disappearing because they can't go to school, they failed, so they end up disappearing. They become mechanics. They go to construction.
They have to look for money somewhere.
Yes.
Tafuta pesa.
Yes, tafuta pesa, So at the end of the day, those are the young people I hope that we can tap into and be able to change now our sports industry, because
the skills are going to waste. Sorry to say.
Yes, the talent, because even if they don't become professional footballers, there's so much more they can do, But they need to be given the opportunity now to study and get skills. If, for example, we can, for example, in one of our programs, we had some of the most talented sports commentators you would ever see. Young boys would commentate and I'll be like, oh my God.
Wow.
I wish this guy would be given this opportunity. They could be some of those, to the level of the World Cup commentators and the commentators we're hearing on AFCON. But where will they ever get that?
Where?
How? And they would just die like that. They learned skills like event management, They were organizing, events. They would wake up, they would volunteer. Young people like those, if they had opportunities to learn, be educated, I think they can be better. But most of them have disappeared. So what's taught to me at the university was that we need to invest. And
if we're going to compete.
Yes, we cannot compete if we don't. Because first of all, abroad, if you're taking your child there at 17 or 15 to try and join the Premier League, it's impossible. One, because the Premier League clubs have their own academies. And they've invested a lot of money, billions of money in the young people in those academies.
Technically, we are not apt if you've not been groomed properly from a young age.
So there's no way they're going to say, oh, there's this 17-year-old who has shown up, come just join academy. It's impossible.
So we have to create the opportunities for ourselves.
Yes, so the solution
How
is
is your
that.
academy managed now? And where else have you branched your wings? Because I see you, I know you have a footprint, you've been to FIFA, you've traveled the world, this football has taken you places to both learn and share your experiences.
Well, sadly, the academy, we have not yet reopened since COVID. Because for me, I told myself
it's tricky.
It's a very tricky situation because there's still this happening and then you're opening and then, we have to put the kids first until we stabilize, then we can reopen again.
Because we're also facing African challenges.
Yes,
like access to the vaccine, access to general health care.
Exactly. And then if you open and something happens, then what do you say? You're supposed to be advocating for professionalism, but you're not. So I told myself and my team, look here, we are supposed to be role models. If there are people still dying of COVID, how are we going to manage? Do we have the resources to manage the situation? Can we wait and see what others the government is putting in place, then we can open. So sadly we have not opened, but nevertheless, in after I finished my masters, I opened a foundation called the Africa Sports Foundation Center. And this center, I've opened it in Uganda. So what I hope to do with it is to build a sports college or a university. When I say university, my husband panics. Are you out of your mind? Can you relax?
His heart and shillings.
It's like, oh my God, what? Don't dream too big. That's too scary.
Hey, dream big. At least you'll get somewhere. You can't dream here and then accidentally get here,
Of course, I know he's worried because he knows I'll be knocking at his door mostly.
But he also knows how ambitious you are. It can be done.
Yes, it can be done. So we bought this land, and our dream is to have this sports facility that offers sports education, sports, activities, and community for the community, and hopefully to serve the region. So we are just now in our initial stages. We are looking for partners. We are looking for what. I'm busy equipping myself. I'm going to go back to school again and study project management because I don't want to take chances.
Yeah.
I want to do it well. So that's what I'm up to now.
And we need proper academies because
Yes.
what we call academies are
not
after
real.
school programs.
Yes.
But a real academy is where you can
Yes.
accommodate the child in a school.
Yes.
And sport just takes, or football in this case, takes precedent.
Exactly.
So the region really needs that. I don't know if we have any proper academies.
Because what we call sports development is very expensive. Very. It's not cheap for you to produce another Victor Wanyama or to produce Messi. It's not cheap because if you're just having the academies, we have coaches
they go and train and
Saturday, Sunday for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Or 3 hours at most. That can't be talent development. You need to expose the child to almost every day.
Aspect
Yes.
of sport.
Yes. In Europe, when you go, even in Dubai, I think I've seen that when they have football academies, they have facilities and schools, basically. So the child comes from school, is in a school, but maybe like at 3 or 2, they go to the field, play, train, and all that, then go back to their dormitories. But here, it's just Saturday, Sunday, because of course, also we can't afford it at some point. The fields are expensive, they are already bad, they're expensive. There are all these technicalities that are.
And then you can't charge, though you're saying a lot of the talented young boys and girls.
They also can't afford.
them.
They can't afford the fees. So it's very delicate. At some point, it's easy to blame, but also we need to be realistic. It's also expensive to produce real stars. But at the end of the day, there has to be people who are going to be willing to invest, willing to say, look here, other countries are making it.
We're hoping. I know Victor Wanyama is building one in Busia.
Yes, which is commendable, really.
Which is commendable. I can't wait for that to be finished and up and running.
Yes.
But yes, the region does need proper football academies if we're to compete.
If we are to compete, there is no way out. We have to. I mean, if already with the little resources that we have, we can see talent. How about when we really push a little more and have more academies now, like Victor Wanyama is doing. Yes.
I want us to take a break. We will be back. I want to talk about this book, Boots Don't Lie. And Kenyan football has lots of issues. And I know you have suggestions, not necessarily solutions, but at least suggestions on what can be done to take our football to the next level, to make our players fully professional so that they can get paid from this. And then some of the other job opportunities that are available in sport. We'll have that discussion in just a bit.
Captain, tupigie Risto.
Mabron Jace. Wacha ni washow vile msupa alinituma vitungu sokoni. Nilikuwa naenda kulamba bet juu ya game moja. Nikauliza, yani naweza lamba bet juu ya game moja? Alafu madha wa vitunguu akadai, jamani, su kesho kuna betika? Nikamuuliza, naweza jitoa tu? Mzee wa mkoko akatokea akadai, ni mara ngapi ndakushow? Na betika unaweza cash out na withdraw bila charges.
Ala, eti cash out na no withdrawal charges?
Kabisa. Ukibetika unapata mo. Pata mo na betika.
Hii story imeletwa kwako na Betika, the official sponsors of happiness. Gambling can be addictive. Play responsibly. Not for persons under 18 years of age. This advert is authorized and regulated by the Betting Control and Licensing Board. License number BK281. Betika, jukwaa la mabingwa.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. This is Radull Live. Today I'm very excited because we are hosting Mariam Mpaata. I read her whole list of some of her achievements, not even all. But here is a woman who didn't even have two thoughts about football growing up and found herself in a career where you realized you could make a change by organizing academies and training programs in Mombasa. Now you've just been mentioning you're going big. You're actually creating did you say an academy and university, a sports university in Uganda? Inshallah. But amongst a lot of what you achieved, and this book is not out yet, I am just going through a dummy copy. It's called Boots Don't Lie. Yes. By Mariam
Melosime
Mpaata,
yeah.
A memoir from a housewife to a sports activist. Yeah, she gave us some of that story in the first half. Yeah. A housewife to a sports activist. Yes. What made you decide you want to write a book?
One of my, surprisingly, Carol, many people don't know, but one of my passion is writing. I started writing when I was 13. So I used to scribble poems after my father had died, and I discovered he liked
Actually,
writing.
I see your sorry to cut you short. Yes. I see your dedication is for my late father, Lieutenant Engineer Sabbath Wycliffe John Osime, and you talk about, at 14, I would have been listening to your intriguing stories about cars and engines. Instead, I was rummaging through your blue Spanish suitcase, searching for a connection to you. Inside it, I found you, tucked in the adventures you poetically described inside your grey journal. It smelt of old wood. The writing bug bit me then. I owe this book to you. Your father was a writer.
Yes, he was a soldier, an engineer, but he also had a secret love for writing.
And the bug has got you.
It just got me at 14. I started writing poems, and I thought to myself, one day I'm going to publish a poetry book, because I just fell in love with the words. I wasn't so good then, but I had this faith, this, belief that I could do anything. It will happen. Yes. So I kept writing, and I remember the first time I wanted to go serious about it, I was actually in Kenya. And I looked for publishers. I had written all my poems since I was 14 into one document. And I knocked doors at doors. I said, look here, I have this great book. I want to publish it. They told me, they sent me so many rejections. Oh, gosh. And they said, we don't publish what? Poetry in collection. Yes, we don't do anthologies unless it's a collection of different anthologies, because it won't sell, apparently.
Yeah.
But that was how many years ago, Carol? I've been in Kenya for 22 years. So that was about probably the first 3 years I'd come into Kenya. So some 18 or so years ago. So I was like, okay. So I kind of slowed down. So one time I was called by this guy, one of the editors from Oxford, and he said, Mariam, you sent us your collection. Can you send us 5 of your best poems Yeah, we are publishing an anthology by different poets. I was like, what? You know? And that was because I was persistent.
So at least they remembered.
You know, he remembered because they were like, this woman who was never giving up, you know. So I sent my poems, and one of my poems was published by Oxford.
Oh, fantastic.
Oxford Press. And there I was alongside Shakespeare and all these great poets. It has never gotten out of my head. I was like, wow, I can do anything actually.
You know, I'd be shouting from the mountaintops. Let's get to this book.
So that's how
Boots
I started.
Don't Lie.
Yes.
Why the title Boots Don't Lie?
Boots Don't Lie actually meant for me, each time I was at the field and I would see the kids who would come in with their different boots. Some wouldn't have boots, and others had new ones, others had tattered ones. And you know, each time I would see the tattered boots, I would know for sure this player has played. This player has really given it their best.
Boots tell a story.
Boots tell a story. There is no way you'll have fresh boots in Africa, especially.
Yeah.
You know, and the story is not told. So for me, that's where the title came from. And I started the journey of writing this book in 2013. And that was because at some point, people were curious about my story. People would ask, what is it? I mean, how come you're a woman and you're in this space? So I would tell my story of how my son, you know, broke this window, blah, blah, blah. And eventually the journalists wanted to write my story. It became a whole new, you know, sensation.
And it's never as accurate as when you tell it yourself.
Exactly. So each time I would say it was all about the good things. Then I started thinking, but you know what? There's so much behind the scenes. Why don't I tell the story myself? After all, I've been wanting to write a book.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in 2014, I started writing down my story. And, you know, of course, being busy here and there, you know, by the time I want to start again, there's this happening and all that. So, but I've reached a point where I'm like, yeah.
I just want to go through some of the titles.
Yes.
Part 1 is actually The Whistle is Blown.
Yes.
They showed me the front line. That sounds like you're going to war. Connecting the dots, extra time.
Yes.
Which would you say was the most fun part to write? And what was the story behind it?
The most fun part, I think, was the part where there's this chapter called Tear Gas. In the first part.
Troubled Times and Tear Gas.
Yes. For me, when I was writing that chapter, I realized how much I had actually gone through to even be who I am. Yeah, because I remember that particular chapter was mainly, it came from the fact that I remember we had gone to town with one of my girls, and I was driving this matatu. Yeah, I'd sold my car to buy a van. Yes, a 14-seater, and it was so manual. Everything about it was manual. And that was my car. So even if I would go to town to do something, I had to drive it. So I was there driving, heading to town. And then there was a sheikh who had been killed back then. And then there was all this chaos in town. And then we rammed straight into the chaos. Yeah, tear gas and everything. My friend, do you know how I turned the car from the other road to the other side. So I had to go over a pavement.
Oh, you became Lewis Hamilton.
Guy. I went over the pavement, turned and moved the other side. Went onto the other side of the road.
That must have been scary.
Yes. When I was writing that story, I was so emotional. I was like, oh my God. There was even the chance that I could have died.
All this has built your character into the person you are today.
Exactly. I told myself if I could survive that, there's nothing that I couldn't survive, you know.
Which of these, I'm looking at connecting the dots, experienced gloves and women football.
Yes.
What's that about in a nutshell?
That is about,
without giving too much away.
That's about me becoming a goalkeeper, my teammates and the experiences that I learned, you know, and being able to promote women football in all sorts
so
of
eventually
ways.
You started playing as well.
Yes. You know,
the bug got you bad.
I had to. I had to. The players used to tease me a lot. They would be like, Coach Mariam, you don't even know football. Eh? And you're here managing. How come? You don't what? They just couldn't get the connection. I was like, okay, I'll prove to you guys that I can play. And that's how I found myself being a goalkeeper.
What has been your biggest learning curve in all that you've so far achieved. And I know you're nowhere near done yet.
Nowhere near done. I think for me, what has been the most, biggest lesson also I can say is realizing that we actually won. And we are fighting a losing battle really if we keep bickering and, not being nice to each other and not doing the right things to make society better. For me, I learned that on the pitch with those young kids, because right now most of them are big. Yeah? Mm-hmm. I think I'm even a grandmother and to some of their children, because some of them who are 17 now are big men in their 30s. With families,
And they carry the values you taught them.
And they carry those values. And, once in a while they call me, they say, Coach Mariam, they call me mom now. They send me pictures of their kids. And I'm like, oh, that is so sweet, But the lesson to me was that if we could just stop this madness of feeling that we are so different, I think this world would be so much better. Because imagine if I had treated some of those kids differently, or if I hadn't even taken the initiative to involve children from the communities.
Everywhere.
Yes, it would have been a different ball game, But realizing that this child who is nothing, who you think is nothing, can actually be something great is
when
just
you look,
profound. Yes.
Because it's one thing to have an academy, groom all these children, but then they look at the state of football in Kenya right now. They look at Premier League right now, where we have 9 clubs about to collapse because there's no money, there's no revenue. We don't even have a federation office in place. It's under a caretaker committee.
Yes.
Harambee Stars is not doing well. Harambee Starlets always complaining about not being paid. When you look at the situation and you think, what am I grooming these children for? Because I should be grooming you.
You
should be
to become
aspiring
something.
Yeah.
Yes.
How does it make you feel, and where do you think we can take a few simple steps to fix the way football is managed in this country?
I think for starters, Carol, it's very frustrating. And sometimes when you think about it deeply, you can actually get annoyed, very annoyed and depressed and just become another different human being. Because at some point I would also ask myself those same questions and say, I would see talent, like real talent, and you still, it, that these kids are going nowhere. And that would be so painful.
That's heartbreaking.
It was so heartbreaking. You're in the middle of talent, and you can't even access even just the under 17 national team. You can't even send them to under 15. You can't. There's so much, so many obstacles around. Yes, So it was very frustrating, But again, when we say we decide to blame the other, I think at the end of the day, we'll just stay in the same place. Yeah? And I'm not saying that people can get away with, or the government or whoever can get away with not supporting sports. But at least if, as individuals, let's say we just do what we are doing. And also, like I said, the biggest lesson, this lesson to realize that we are all the same. No matter how much money you amass in this world, you will leave it here. And then it will be fought for by people who didn't even work for it. Yeah. So at the end of the
what legacy?
Yes,
are you leading?
It has to be about legacy.
I always tell people,
yes,
and this is something we started when we started just a study.
Yes.
Ask yourself as a fan, what can I do?
Exactly. What can I do?
Yes, there's a lot the government should do. Yes, the federation is a mess. What can I do beyond sitting on my laptop and tweeting and complaining?
Exactly. That one we can do very well. It's cheaper to do.
Yeah.
To do the complaining, it's so much cheaper. But to take action.
Complain when you've done something.
Yes.
I'll listen.
Exactly. But also again, governments have to also realize that it's high time that we change. We cannot continue this game, Karen. We cannot. For sure, we are losing, and it's even embarrassing. Because the younger generation is going to come into a space that is so difficult for them to even move forward. Because if, for example, and I'm not just saying about Kenya, it's also Uganda, East Africa, look at ourselves, stadium zero. Whose responsibility is it? It cannot be my responsibility, Mariam, to build a stadium for a country. How can I afford it? But the money is there. It should be allocated, because we cannot be clapping hands when Harambee Stars or Uganda Cranes goes and wins a small match and we're like, yeah, our team. but they don't have the facilities at home.
There's no plan to keep them at the top.
You see, that is just like applying makeup.
You
know, it's like applying makeup. You go out for a party, you come back and look at yourself. You're like,
underneath.
the wrinkles are there. That's what we are doing. The wig is gone. That's what we are doing. And it's so sad.
But somebody very naively asked on Twitter, which was very naive, but it actually made a lot of sense. And he said, Radull, you guys are complaining that you want stadiums, yet the ones that are existing are empty.
They're empty.
And I found it a very naive statement, simply because there are leagues happening that are being played on training grounds. Kaptoyoyo, Ruaraka, league games should not be played there. But he had a point. Where are these fans who are complaining and were saying, we were promised stadiums, where are they? You know, let's hold the government accountable. The government's probably not building them because they're thinking the same thing. Who's going to go in them?
Who's going to go in them?
You know? I actually changed my wish list to 5 state-of-the-art to a moderate stadium in every county. Because I think that makes more sense.
That makes more sense.
A moderate stadium in every country that we can manage.
Yes, that we can manage.
We don't need Kasarani in every county.
Yeah, because I think it would be so much better, because at least even there is aspiration for the young people. If you're in a county, for example, that doesn't have a proper field and you're playing football, you're aspiring to do what? To play in that gravel that you will be injured. Yes, I remember when we would have one of our programs called Watoto Africa. And I would have, budgets that were straining me, and people would say, no, you take the tournaments to Tononoka. You reduce your budget. And they were playing in Oshwal Academy, and the field is perfect, beautiful. And I'll say, but where do young people get the hope if I take them to Tononoka all the time? I'm not moving this tournament from this good field, because I want these young people who come from Tononoka, Bamburi, Kisauni to come and play on a field that's almost like carpet.
On a field they watch on TV, which is the reason we're watching the Premier League. It's so well packaged.
So they would come and somersault and, go crazy about the tournament and have hope. When you stand there and say, guys, let's continue playing, there's hope, they would indeed have hope. So if what you're saying could be implemented, I think that would give us a lot of hope, and also be able to, realize that sports, again, it's an industry. It's a making billion whatever machine that we are not really harnessing. And it's so sad.
We're here saying that this player is being bought for 40 million pounds, 50 million euros. Money we can't even fathom in our league.
Money has been spent. Money has been invested.
It should wake us up that that's the value of this game, if we're serious.
Yes. And I'm telling you, Caro, at some point I'm tired of talking about these things, because it's frustrating, to be honest. We have the same solutions. We offer the same solutions year after year, and still nothing.
Implementation.
Yes.
People still come in, they want a short-term grabbing what they can.
It's kind of frustrating. But again, like I said, let kila mtu do something. If we can do kidogo
if you are
kidogo.
Kenyan, I'd ask you to campaign for FKF. But we have so many talented ladies as well who are in the game now. Journalists, activists in this country. We need to just give them more support.
And when we come to women's football or sports, I think that like I just shared with you, that men or people who have opportunities are giving us breadcrumbs. Maybe because it could also be because there's still that prehistorical, mindset that women cannot compete with men. But I think there are so many women who are so capable now. Women who have, expertise that even at some point is better than men. And I think that if women are given opportunities to develop themselves further, they should be given opportunities to even just share in the top leadership. Not just become flower girls. I don't...
Absolutely.
If someone called me for a flower girl job, I'm not going. Or a job that I feel is demeaning for me. Or a job that I feel they're just giving me just to create the gender balance. People. Yes, the gender balance. I'm sticking to where I am. I'm sticking to where I am, So, but if women, for example, CAF, they had said, there's a time they had said they were going to have a match with all women. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eventually, one woman was given the opportunity, yeah, to grace the match. But I think AFCON, or this would have been the perfect opportunity for CAF to say, you know what, these are here. Of course, there are 4 women who are officials, who are refs. They could surprise us and say, here, you know, here you are. This is a match for women. Let the women take
only.
over. Yes, it could. It's not just about history, but it's also about motivating
creating
others.
History.
Yes, you know, and motivating others that look here, we are studying this, but there are opportunities everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, because we have
Yes.
the female referees at CAF.
Yes.
Who are just as capable.
Exactly as men. I don't think that it's impossible.
This
Yeah.
I want to come back to this book because my name is in it. Right at the back. These if I just want to read a few of the I'm not sure what you call these.
Yeah, like testimonials.
Like testimonials.
Or
There's one from
yeah.
the FIFA Secretary General, Fatma Samura, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
She says, Mariam Mpaata is a trailblazer and a truly passionate and committed advocate for football in Kenya and Uganda. We share together the strong belief in the power of the beautiful game to improve lives and bring about positive change in society.
Yeah.
I like I like the mixing of football and life.
Yes, yes.
Because at the end of the day, you'll go and have a nice football game and
Yes.
then go back to your miserable life.
Yes, true.
You know?
Yeah.
This is I can't read. This is someone from Denmark.
Yes.
I can't read the name.
Megan. She's called Megan.
Jill Martin.
Yes.
Mariam's story is an inspiration and celebrates the many journeys life takes us on. You will cry, laugh, get pissed off, and become stronger with her.
Yeah.
There's one from Ali Hassan Joho.
Yeah.
There's one from Dennis Obua.
Yeah, the minister of sport.
He's Minister of
State
Sport in Uganda, yeah. But he was a player just the other day.
Yes, not that.
Not that Obua.
Not that Obua. They are related, I think. So,
Oh, I know another Abua who was a player the other day for Uganda. There's the CEO of the Federation of Uganda Football Association, Edgar Subi Watson.
Yeah.
And then there's Carol Radull. I think I just got too excited. But Mariam, this book, when is this book coming out? Because I know this is still a dummy copy.
Yes. So,
and it's a must read, by the way.
It is a must read.
A must read.
Yes, a must read. I'm proud of myself, really, because it's not every day that women write books. I was just trying to tell the printers the other day, do you know what it takes for a woman to succeed? I was trying to corner them into giving me a discount. So I was telling them, do you know how tough it is for a woman to succeed, to even whatever level? And in writing, for that say, you have cramps, you have to write. You have children, they're crying, they're what, you have to.
Yes.
You know, you have a husband to deal with, you have a household to manage. You have a household to manage, you have work to manage. You know, for a man, it can be very easy to say, Germany, I'm going to
I'm locking myself in the room, I'm working.
Yes, I'm working. But I would have to wake up at 2 a.m. because I have tried to sort out everything else. 2 a.m. is when I would write. And yes, wake up, sleep like maybe by 4, have to wake up by 6.
So when is it, when will we see this on the shelf?
So by 5th January, March, it should be out.
Oh, in less than 2 months.
Yes. It's going to be available
Boots don't
all
lie.
over.
Boots don't lie.
Boots don't
oh my
lie.
Goodness.
I love the title. I stuck with it.
I love the title.
I stuck
because
with
it tells a story.
Yes, it does.
If your boots are too clean, there's nothing you're doing.
If your boots are too, but it's the same as life. If your life is so perfect, then you need to also question yourself.
So, Mariam, thank you for coming by.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll look out for your academy, university in Uganda.
Yes.
I hope we can sort our health situation so that things can go back to normal in Mombasa.
Yes, the
so
kids
that
are missing it so much.
I'm sure they are.
I'm sure they are, because
sports is really...
Yes, every day.
It's so powerful in keeping kids off the streets.
I know, it
giving
is.
them camaraderie.
I know.
Improving their skills.
Even just that excitement. Even the women, the soccer divas. I also miss that a lot. Because it was one of those things where, Carol, if you're stressed, You go to the field, meet your teammates. I mean, I never knew how magical football was until I became a goalkeeper. Oh my God. You go crazy.
I play football like this.
No, you should join us one day, just for one match.
When my foot heals, I'll come to Mombasa specifically.
Just for one match. You will see.
Thank you so much, Mariam. Thank you so
Carol.
much. I wish you all the best in all your programs.
Yes.
I know this is not the end. We will continue to meet, continue to talk.
Yes.
Let me know when the book comes out.
Yes.
We have to splash it everywhere.
Yes, and thank you for writing that testimonial for me.
Absolutely. It's the least I could do.
It was just one of those moments for me. I was like, wow. I can't believe it.
Guys, you have to buy it to see what I wrote. Yeah.
So thank you.
And thank you guys as always every week for watching Radull Live so that we can learn more about this beautiful game and ask ourselves what we can do.
Yes.
Mariam didn't sit back and decide I need to find an academy for my son when it wasn't working.
Yeah.
She said, let me create one.
Yeah.
What can you create? You don't have to job hunt if you're able, you know. Create the job you want. Create the dream job and develop the sport we love.
Yeah,
that's the least we can do.
Yes.
But thanks for watching and we'll see you again next week right here on Radull Live.